It's Steve. So another day, another nonsense story from ESPN. So supposedly, LeBron James here in this is what they do. They'll say something, and then to ensure they don't get called out on it, they'll say, "Oh, but it wasn't directly from LeBron. This was from the Golden State Warrior camp." And then Stephen A. Smith will say small things like, "Oh, but LeBron controls everything that the media says about him, so this has to be partially true." And then he goes on his whole rant. Let me tell you something right now. LeBron James would never, in his entire life, go to the Golden State Warriors. Now, here's something most people don't know about LeBron. Now, I know this because I grew up watching LeBron. I've been watching him for over a decade. What people don't know is that LeBron James, the only reason why he went to Miami in the first place, I know people are going to say, "Oh, because he wanted to win and he wanted to get past Boston," which is partly true. And LeBron said that himself. But what LeBron didn't say is the only reason why he left is because Dwayne Wade was a good friend of his. If Dwayne Wade wasn't a good friend of LeBron's, he would have never left the Cleveland Cavaliers. They said it from the get-go. LeBron, Melo, and Wade. They wanted to play together. And it was supposed to be Carmelo there, not Chris Bosh. You know, I've told you guys this before. It was supposed to be Carmelo Anthony there, but he signed that rookie extension with the Denver Nuggets. He wanted the extra money, which is fine. You know, came to bite him in the butt because if LeBron, Melo, and Wade were on the same team, 2011 against Dallas, they would have never lost. Because D-Wade averaged 25 and Carmelo would have never allowed that to happen, especially in his prime. You know, I mean, goddamn. Could you imagine that? But that's besides the point. The point is that, and I know the title is clickbait, but this is what ESPN does. This is pretty much what ESPN does. But LeBron also says it, so it's kind of not clickbait because LeBron actually says it. If you actually like watched him, how I did growing up and all this other stuff, he would never, ever go anywhere where he doesn't have a friend there. That's why he didn't come to the New York Knicks in 2010 because obviously Carmelo Anthony wasn't there yet. You know, this is why he didn't go, you know, and join the Boston Celtics when they were dominant with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG, and Rajon Rondo, and Kendrick Perkins, and the rest of them. This is why he didn't go and join the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, he's cool with Kobe, but that's a different type of cool. It's different when Kobe already has that experience in the championships. And I know Dwayne Wade won without LeBron and won Finals MVP without LeBron, but they grew up together in the league. So it's a different type of friendship. Kobe's more of a mentor. Dwayne Wade and Carmelo, they're more like best friends. All right, so that's the only reason why he went to Miami. He didn't go to Miami because of Chris Bosh. You know, it's not to knock Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh is also one of the greatest players of all time. You know, possibly a top 50 to 60 player of all time. But he didn't go because of Chris Bosh. He went there because he said, "Oh, look, okay, so my friend is there. My good friend is already there. We can try and see if Melo," because they've been planning this for a long time. Go look at some of their 2006 interviews, you know, when their first rookie contracts were going away. Go look at some of those and you'll see what I'm talking about. So LeBron was like, "Okay, you know, we're going to team up sometime." You know, he said this himself. Him, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo, they all said, "Look, we want to team up one day." You know, and this is when they were like, this is like in 06, but Melo, stupid Melo, my favorite player of all time, signed that rookie extension. They would have had like, they would still be winning championships. Well, probably not, but they would have won like 5 or 6 in a row if Melo was on that team. You know, but that's besides the point. The only reason why LeBron went there is because Dwayne Wade was his best friend. Okay, if it were a different team, let's say the Orlando Magic with Dwight Howard and then Chris Bosh were gonna go, and then LeBron was gonna join them, he wouldn't have joined them. You know, first of all, obviously because Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic at that point in time were competition towards the Cavaliers. You know, because they beat them in the 09 Eastern Conference Finals, you know, to destroy everyone's dreams of seeing LeBron versus Kobe in the finals. We had the puppets, we had all this other stuff, but instead we got to see the Lakers 4-1 the Orlando Magic and absolutely obliterate them because for some reason, Hedo Turkoglu decided to be an NBA superstar against the Cavaliers in that playoff series. Like, okay. And that was when LeBron hit that legendary shot, which I was watching live at the age of, how old was I? 12? Oh, I was 12 years old. Damn, man, I'm getting, wow. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's besides the point. The point is that people paint LeBron James to be this unloyal person, but the truth is that he's loyal to Cleveland. Like, he would have never went back if he weren't loyal. Now people are gonna say, "Oh, well, he went back for Kyrie and Kevin Love." Well, that's partly obvious. You know, you're stating the obvious, but what you don't understand is he says this all the time. I'm from Akron. This is my home. You know, I know Akron's not Cleveland, but it's from the same area. This is my home. He has a duty there. Like, you know how much he impacts the economy in Akron and in Cleveland? If he leaves, that entire area, that entire metropolitan and even the suburban areas just turns into turning money during the regular season to not doing anything. Because he's what draws them in, and he realizes that. So he has that strong connection there. So that's why he stayed until 2010. That's number one. And that's why he returned in 2014, because he knows how much of an impact he has to Cleveland and to Akron. And that's why everyone was so upset. No one cared. Yeah, they didn't care about, you know, him doing the TV commercial, the TV of my decision and all. They don't care about that. What they cared about was like, damn, everything's ruined now. Like, what are we gonna do? And it's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but that's the way it is in Akron and Cleveland and the surrounding areas, in that metropolitan area / suburban area in Ohio. That's the way it is, you know. And LeBron doesn't say things like this because he realizes, like, it's such a heavy thing to talk about, and he just wants to stay with the positivity and focus on basketball and being a role model and things like that. But if you realize how much LeBron, like, has to carry with that for that city, it's ridiculous, right? But you know, people think of LeBron as this unloyal scumbag who, you know, doesn't want to sign a full contract with Cleveland because he's leaving, and that's people like ESPN and people that not all people, but some people that watch ESPN believe that as well. But let me sit there and tell you this right now. LeBron James, number one, doesn't sign long contracts anymore because the man is old. That's one. Okay, the man is old, and he realizes a contract is a burden. And when you have power like LeBron James, you can choose what happens to your career. There are only a select few of players that have that power. LeBron, Carmelo, KD, Steph, Russ, etc. Right? Like the real top tier players. Obviously, Carmelo slowed down a bit in terms of, you know, aging and things like that. But the real top tier players, you know, especially when they sign those original contracts, right? And James Harden as well. And LeBron sees what happened to Carmelo in New York, and he's like, I don't want to go through something like that where I can't get out, you know, unless I ask for a trade. But they don't have to give me a trade because there's a no trade clause. So I'm protected, but they are at the same time. And it's like, do I really want to have that stress around me? And it's like, no. You know, so he's not leaving Cleveland. He said this himself. He wants to retire in Cleveland. And, you know, the one thing that really gave it away, and this is why I have the title as LeBron says he's never going to join Golden State. LeBron pretty much said when he left Miami and he won that 2016 championship, I think when he wrote the I'm coming, like the coming home letter, I'm coming home or whatever, he said, I didn't expect to return. No, he said, I always knew I wanted to retire in Cleveland, but I didn't expect to return so soon in my career. So what he's saying there is he didn't expect to come back so soon. He expected to stay in Miami longer. Unexpected circumstances with, you know, Dwayne Wade and his fallout with Pat Riley and things like that. Dwayne Wade getting injured, that is. And he's lucky he left because Chris Bosh's blood clot injuries and things like that. Now, Chris Bosh still played 2 more seasons until he left and was still an all-star 2 times until he left. But, I mean, after he left. But, so LeBron sees all that and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go. So some unforeseen circumstances happened, and he went to Cleveland, and that's where he was like, I didn't expect to come back so soon, but I always knew I wanted to retire in Cleveland as a Cavalier. So the man is 33 years old in his 15th year. There's no way in hell he's leaving and then going to come back and retire, you know, with the Cavaliers. You know, that's just not going to happen. So either he wants to retire with them or he doesn't. And he said he wants to retire, so he's pretty much saying he's never going to join any other team. He's never going to leave. And for fact, The man he's too competitive. People don't think he's competitive, but he's too damn competitive to do what Kevin Durant did. And you don't think LeBron James is smart enough to know that if he did that, his legacy would be tarnished? Well, he says he's chasing Michael Jordan, so why the hell would he join the Golden State Warriors knowing that's going to happen to him? Yeah, some of these stories are crazy, man. At the end of the day, LeBron James, if you really pay attention to what he says, and you've been watching him for a long time, he pretty much says what he's going to do. That's just the way it is, man. It's been your man, Steve, and thank you to the league for not allowing my man Carmelo Anthony to join the Cleveland Cavaliers, because if they did, that would be an instant championship, which I want Carmelo to win, and I'm being sarcastic by thanking the league, because I'm actually mad at the league for not allowing Carmelo and that Paul George trade to happen to Cleveland, but I'll sit there and tell you this right now. Carmelo Anthony, you better win one championship before you retire to solidify yourself as a top 25 player of all time. It's been your man, Steve. I'm out. Peace.